Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of my show. Today I have a very wonderful guest who I really admire. A feminist, a Bahraini feminist who grew up and work and study at the same time while also maintaining a family and then establish a business and also being a part-time student. She's been working in HR for over than 15 years with two kids, raising two kids, and also a part-time lecturer in University of Strathclyde. I hope I announced it correctly. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to my show again. If you haven't subscribed yet to my channel, please do subscribe and smash the like button and make sure you hit the bell notification to be up to date. And please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome with me, Miss Mona Al-abbas. Thank you for making time to come to our podcast.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. It is my pleasure to be one of your guests in your podcast. Thank you very much for inviting me.
I really appreciate your time. How did you manage all that?
All that? What do you mean by all that?
So, if for the benefit of the guest, of course, they have also to know they're actually striving to know stories, and believe it or not, one of the stories that admire myself and motivate me myself is your story. I mean, let's talk about when you grew up at the beginning, when you finish your high school. What was your aim? Does it was the same as it now?
It was totally different. At that time, I wanted to be an English teacher.
Right.
Because I liked my English teacher at the primary school. But at that time as well, I was studying at the science track. So when I graduated and then I went to the university, I thought that being in the science track will allow me to choose whatever major I wanted, which was somehow true, but not to my expectation.
Right.
So I applied, and as you know, at the University of Bahrain, you will have to give more than one choice or your priorities for your majors. So they accepted me on my third or fourth choice, which was College of Engineering. And I went with the flow for the first semester. I tried to transfer to the College of Arts to study English literature, but it wasn't working for a reason or another. So I continued and I chose a major of electronics engineering.
Did
Totally
you
different.
choose, or you've been asking to go to that engineering?
I've been accepted at the College of Engineering.
Right.
So after the foundation year, you have to choose between the different specialization in engineering.
Right.
So among the engineering studies, one specialization was electronics engineering. So I chose electronics engineering.
Okay. And how does it feel? Is it like deviate from your passion?
Yes, at the beginning, but at that age as well, you are still young, you are still not mature enough to, maybe have a proper vision for yourself.
Right.
So when I went to the College of Engineering for the first year, I somehow liked at the beginning the subjects, and it is familiar with me being from a science track at school. And I thought, it's okay. I think to become an engineer is better than a teacher, maybe. So, yeah, I'll be an engineer one day. So I like that engineer image.
Right.
So I decided to continue in the engineering. And after, I think, 3 years, I finished my associate diploma in electronics engineering. And at that time, I couldn't also continue my bachelor degree because I didn't have the enough GPA, let's say, for continuing the bachelor degree for engineering. And I wanted also to transfer to the business college, but the rules at the university didn't allow that at that time. You cannot take or study two majors that have a diploma, or take two diplomas from the same university. So there was so many limitations. and I couldn't transfer to the business college.
And do you think that that was your, I mean to say, is that was what you was looking for, or it's something that you just have to live with it? I mean, in this case, you've been to something that you don't like. At the first of all, something that is not related to your passion.
Mm-hmm.
You have no imagination of you being an engineer, but sometime or somehow it's got to your brain the image of engineer. Perhaps it's good for you,
Mm-hmm.
but it turns out it's not good for you, because I don't see it's like something you are passionate about to be in engineering school. Is that right?
That's right. Yeah, you can say that.
Right.
You can say that at that age, me as Mona, I wasn't having a clear vision for myself.
Right.
I wanted just to finish my bachelor degree, and maybe I couldn't finish it in engineering, so I wanted to do business. I thought maybe business will be more related to, future jobs. I will have better opportunities than, and just having a diploma in engineering. So I wanted to do as well business. So I wasn't clear where is my direction, and I started working as well after my diploma.
Right.
I started with the junior admin positions and marketing, secretary, reception, whatever that comes to my way.
Right.
And but I wasn't happy about, not finishing my studies, and it was something that is always triggering me behind my, brain, and I was really, looking forward to finish my studies. And after some years, I decided to join a private university in Bahrain to finish my studies, and I chose the business administration as a major.
Right.
And yeah, that was, my survival stage.
And do you choose business because it's the easier route in order to continue or to top up your previous degree? That's why you choose something business management. Because if you, it's not within your passion, and then you have to switch,
Mm-hmm.
and then you have to go to somewhere even that you don't have a clue whether it will fit your paradigm, or it will fit your perspective,
Mm-hmm.
or you're passionate about to study it or no. What was the rationale behind that decision? Why don't you go and fight hard to be an English teacher again?
Well, you can say that I changed my mind. Again, I didn't see myself as an English teacher for a reason or another. Maybe I was, when you were young, especially when I was at the primary school, I just liked my teacher,
Right.
my English teacher. And because of that, being very young,
Right.
at that age, you just want to be the same as the teacher you like. So I want to be like her. I want to be an English teacher like her. I liked her not because she was my English teacher, because she was also responsible for the activities and so many things that we used to do at school. So I liked her personality as well. But later, when you join studies and when you start working, you start discovering yourself, where you want to be. And at that time, I started to just started knowing more about human resources and HR. So
Right.
that's why I thought business will be more suitable, as well as it was more available as a major in the private universities, that I can easily, access studies through
Right.
it.
And so you made that decision and moved
Yes.
to. And how does it feel really to start something like that? I imagine you have no clue about business study or business subject. How does it feel really at the beginning? How did you cope with the difficulties that due to you don't have a background in order to to get like a backup study or some things? How did you cope with when it's come to something totally new to Mona?
Well, I had a mixed feelings. Let's say I was a little bit hesitant because, as you said, it is a new major.
Right.
At the same time, I was a bit feeling relieved because At my time at the University of Bahrain, when we studying engineering, we used to, let's say, not gossip, but we always used to say, when somebody he cannot continue in engineering, they go to business because it's easier.
No way.
So I thought, no, I survived engineering. At least I had a diploma. So I will survive business, I'm sure. So I had a mixed feeling between it will be easy, but at the same time, it is, something new.
And reality-wise?
Reality-wise, it is totally different way of thinking. A totally different way of thinking. It opened my mind into new ways of not only thinking, new ways of knowledge.
Right.
At engineering, it's totally different. It's something maybe more, standard, or there is no too much room of thinking, creatively, because it is what is it. It is.
It
You
is what
cannot,
it is. You can't have above and beyond. You basically have to go with the basic routine and doing some extra exams or doing the curriculum as it is.
Even the studies itself, it is engineering. It is something solid. You cannot create something, new about
somebody,
it, or something creative about it.
Right.
Unless if you are, a genius scientist, maybe you will discover something new.
Right.
But as an engineer, you cannot be creative and think out of the box. You have to always think inside the box of engineering, because there is a set of rules, the standard formulas you have to follow, and standard things, especially in electronics. You are studying electronics and electrical things, and how you will be thinking out of the box, out of the electronics and electrical things. You have to somehow think inside the box. But in business and in management, it is always about thinking out of the box. It is always about new knowledge and new theories. It is something there is always something new about it. Every now and then there is new thoughts about it, right. New research about it. It's totally different than engineering. So at the beginning, I was, I just read one theory and I said, oh, that's a good theory. And when I read the next theory criticizing the first theory, oh, how come? Then it took me, at least for the first semester to open my mind, and it is all about, thinking differently and always being updated with the time.
Right. And if I may ask you about this, actually, this question pops up to my mind immediately right now. It's basically how, what was the reality? Is it the lack of development in the engineering school, that they didn't had creative into bringing and developing the materials, or it is in the business school they're much developed, or
it is the discipline itself. Right. It's the discipline itself. The studies of engineering, it's somehow like medicine.
Okay.
So there is building blocks already, and
True.
You cannot go out of that box. You cannot invent a new current, for example. You cannot invent a new formula for current.
Right.
Current equal voltage over resistance.
True.
That's the formula.
Even though I don't know, have no idea about that, but yes.
That's the formula for a current. For example, that was the basic thing we studied in electronics. So in all your, studies, you will have to follow certain formulas, certain standards. But in business and in management, it is always about new thinking every now and then. That's the discipline nature. It's not about the university or the professors or the teachers or the lecturers. It is the discipline, how the characteristics of the discipline itself.
Right.
So management and business is always lively. It is always, because it is a humanistic studies. So it is about the human nature, and they build theories on it. And this human nature, you can study it every day, and every time you will come up with something new.
True. And After that, what happened when you enter the? I think you mentioned you private university in Bahrain.
Yes, yes.
So did you get a top up due to the subject you took in University of Bahrain?
Yeah, they transferred the credit of some of the subjects which were, common.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
But
they didn't take much, as I can see.
no, few subjects, I guess.
So
Maybe a semester or so.
basically, the diploma you took, the engineer diploma, you just hang it somewhere.
Yeah.
Or
It's gone by the wind.
huh?
Gone by the wind.
Oh, really? But do you think this can reflect on your business study to be an engineer mindset in order to progress? And do you feel that you've got additional power rather than other students while they don't have any background after the high school?
You mean that my engineering studies
Does it help
helped
you?
me?
Yes. Does it help you in terms of understanding business subject or understanding the mechanism maybe or anything that can really
It's
give you
not
an advantage?
no, it's not about the understanding something about the business or management discipline itself. It is more about giving me the skills to research and to discipline myself as well when I study. Um, as I said, engineering is more like 1 + 1 = 2, while management 1 + 1 = to many alternatives.
Sure.
That's the
Based
nature.
on the number one plus, which one exactly do you mean? Is it the
nature
goal or
of the discipline in engineering, 1 + 1 = 2, and there is
right?
no other answer.
True.
The management discipline, 1 + 1 = to so many alternatives.
True.
It depends.
Depends on how you
It
treat
depends
that one.
on the
Yeah.
situation.
True. Very
This
true.
is the nature of the discipline. So maybe the engineering gave me more focus, like result oriented mindset. So I will always, try to look for a proper answer for a situation in a maybe managerial situation or a leadership situation in a business.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And how did you? So I mean, what did you get in when you shift to business? Did you get average marks? Are you looking for be a student again? What was your
Well,
aim?
my aim, number one, is to have a bachelor degree because I wasn't happy
Hold on a
having a
second. So
diploma.
having a diploma did not reflect on your happiness?
I wasn't happy that I didn't continue my bachelor degree. I felt I am missing something.
Right.
And it reflected on so many things, on my confidence as well. So the aim, number one, was to have a bachelor degree. Number two, to prove to myself before proving to anyone else that I can do it.
Right.
So basically gaining back my
Confidence by getting a bachelor degree.
by getting a bachelor degree. Number three is to have better opportunity in terms of work. Because as I said, at that time I was working in admin position. I actually, at that time when I started studies, I was working as an executive secretary in one of the private universities as well. And I didn't want to be a secretary the whole of my life. I wanted to grow.
Right.
And yeah, I was afraid that I will not grow professionally because I didn't have a bachelor degree. So
Right.
I wanted the bachelor degree as well to grow in my career.
So at that time you were working and studying at the same time.
Yes.
Right.
And luckily, with all the challenges that I faced during my studies, alhamdulillah, I graduated with the first class honors.
Wow.
GPA 4 out of 4.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Really?
Yes.
4 out of 4. Can you believe that? Wow.
I didn't believe that.
I didn't believe that either. I was thinking that you might say something on average. I got average mark whatsoever. You got 4 out of 4. Oh my goodness. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How did you see yourself when you achieved this? I mean, reflecting back to earlier of your story where you says, I had self-doubt because I did not complete my bachelor, and then I didn't see myself growing in terms of career path due to the lack of, I don't have the qualification level in order to be in a career or growing my career. And then after that, you go to business school, you had new challenge. It's not your passion, it's not something you dream of, but something that you related somehow. It can help you out. And you made it. 4 out of 4. Wow.
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. And how does really reflect on you after achieving this? Sky's the limit.
Yes. Personally, I felt more confident about myself. Career-wise, I shifted at that time from a senior officer in HR immediately after graduation to HR manager.
Right, and that because of the long service you've got within
Yes,
that. You
yes.
said private university.
Yes, in a private university.
And your role, I think it was primary in that, or it was senior role.
I joined them as an executive secretary.
And you end up with
And
them
as an HR manager.
Wow. It shows really the determination. And how did you feel when you... And by the way, is that when you graduated, you working as an HR manager but at that time?
No. When I started my studies, I was working as an executive secretary with them.
Right.
And then after 1 year, I shifted to HR. So the title was HR officer.
Right.
And during the studies, I was promoted to HR senior officer. And when I graduated, after my graduation, exactly when I got my certificate,
Right.
I was promoted to HR manager.
Congratulations. Well deserved. Very well deserved. And at that time, what was your image of your future? Do you see a difference between what you were expecting back in high school to what happened
Yes.
right now? I mean, after getting the grades that you want, after graduating with first class honors, and after that, you promoted as an HR manager for a private university. I mean, it has to be difficult. It is not that easy. How did you manage to do all that? Did you have somebody to support you? What was the strength? In order, I'm just saying this just to give the audience a picture of a lady in Bahrain, which you struggle a lot to be in your position and achieve whatever you were having in mind.
Well, that determination was my vision for myself. This is my first, let's say, support system is Mona. The image that I put for myself. To me, I don't know if this will sound different or if anyone will understand me, but to me, my the full potential Mona is someone different than Mona sitting in front of you. It is somebody that I aim to reach to or to achieve. So every step I take, it is like a step forward to Mona,
Right.
the one I want to reach to her.
Right.
So that Mona, the image that I have for Mona, which is my future self, my full potential self, is always my number one support. Okay. And the second support, of course, my family, my husband, because we went through so many difficult times. During my studies, I went through pregnancy and having birth for both my children. So the struggle was real struggle.
So you weren't only working and studying, you was also raising kids and married. I mean, how did you do that? For the benefit of the guest, how difficult it was? What did you do in order to fit all this schedule? I mean, working is something can stress people out and make them away from their comfort zone. Basically, it's like a jail to some people. I imagining working and studying at the same time, which basically for me, I'm used to it. So I gone through this experience before, but I never gone to experience where I was working, studying, and having to raise a babies with me. How did you do
Well,
that?
let me tell you a first thing that
Wow.
I'm not alone in this. Most women, working women, is going through such difficulties.
Do you call them difficulty? I don't
Challenges.
think challenges. And
Yes.
you got 4 out of 4, which means you are the best in your class. And at the same time, if I'm a psychologist therapist at the moment right now, I'll determine directly that how on earth you've been promoted from secretary to be an HR manager while the time you are already studying. And at the same time, you already had babies to take care of. I mean, how did you manage to get all that sorted out?
Well, everything will have a reason. Career-wise, somebody saw a potential in me.
Right.
Okay, so there was an opportunity in HR. I applied and things went well for me at that stage. And then
But is
I
it
had also a supporting manager, not from the beginning, he joined later.
right?
Um,
He believed, if I can say, he believed in
very
you.
much, very much.
And that's why he promoted you, and he seen a talented young Bahraini talented that deserved to be promoted. Is that true?
Yes, and I will
Wow.
forever be thankful to him and to his support in many ways. And
Thank you very much.
Yes, he knows
What-
himself. I don't know if I'm allowed to say his name.
Yes, sure.
Mr. Faleh
You
Al-Muayyad.
can shout
Yeah.
out to him right now, Mr.
Mr. Faleh Al-Muayyad.
Mr. Faleh
He
Al-Muayyad.
was the senior director of admin and finance at that time at the university we were working. And yeah, I can say he supported me and he believed in me. And the moment I graduated, he promoted me to HR manager.
Wow. I can see while you were talking to me, ladies and gentlemen, I have seen something in your eyes when you describe him. I think you had something really special to him. I mean,
No, it's just-
does he really like play out like a mentor to you? So he's not only develop you as a side of work, but he also develop you as a person, because I can say some personal attaching here when you describe him.
Well, it's just about somebody who gives you the opportunity, because maybe he was the first one that he gave me the opportunity to grow.
Right. In your division, you mean? Or in your...
Yes.
Right.
So when someone gives you the opportunity to grow and he believes in you, and you will always show the support, then you will always be grateful, because this is like the corner of your career. When somebody promotes you and you grow up in the career ladder, and then you will also base your future careers based on your current
career,
right?
yes, absolutely.
So your future is based on somebody who believes in you, and
Right.
So a potential in you.
Exactly. Very
So
well said.
of course I'll be forever grateful to him.
Very
Plus
well said.
other things.
So you, after that, what was your wish? What was next for you when you accomplished such a great thing like that while you're studying and while you are married?
Well, the next step for me was starting studying my master's degree at the University of Strathclyde, and it was again a cornerstone in my career life and personal development as well. So I started studying with them, and it took me maybe 3 years to graduate.
Wow.
And I continued working and
Studying,
and-
taking care of the babies, and come.
and they are
Do you
growing.
sleep?
Hmm?
Did you get enough sleep back then?
Sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Oh my God.
There is sometimes very challenging times, wasn't easy times, and sometimes you are when you see your achievements and you see the returns, you start
Relief.
reliefs. Yes, and you start feeling satisfied and enjoying yourself.
Right.
But you will not feel dissatisfaction unless you went through, I don't want to say hell, but you went through so many difficulties and so many challenges that you wouldn't think that you will, pass these challenges at that time. Sometimes you feel like, how can I survive?
True.
Really, how can I survive?
How did you survive? I'm
asking my old virgin Mona, how did you survive?
Oh my
I'm
God.
asking my old virgin Mona, how did you survive?
Can you please bring her here so we can talk a little bit? Then we'll come back
No,
to the
she
new
wouldn't
version.
talk. She would be more shy.
Really?
Yes. She
While
wouldn't
she
talk.
achieving all that, she's still shy?
This is the newer version. Who's talking to you? Future version, Allahu Alam.
Very interesting. And how back then, when you were facing the master's degree, you were studying all in Bahrain, right?
Yes.
So you start to thinking that you need a master's degree. Let me ask you a question. Why?
Because I have a goal in my life to be in the academic field,
Right.
which is teaching, lecturing at a university level.
And
So
that's
master is important, and inshallah in future PhD will be my next goal.
Wow.
Inshallah.
I can see already a PhD holder from now, actually.
Inshallah.
So what was really the motive behind that? What did drive you there? Is it just because you want to because you mentioned that you are an HR manager and you had a bachelor degree. So why to bother? And you have 2 babies with you. So why to bother to take a master's degree just to be academic if you are already an HR manager?
Well, you go through stages in your life, and every stage will have its own requirements.
Right.
And being an HR manager, working in the private sector, I don't think at that time it will last forever.
Absolutely
So
correct.
I was thinking, when I become maybe older in age, I would want to do something different than, working in a private sector for profit organizations or whatever. So I aim for being in the academic field.
Right.
So the master will be important, not only for the academic field, as well as in your career. Having a master degree maybe will open new doors for you, and maybe better organizations or better maybe positions. You grow up more in the ladder.
But that was a rationale behind your thinking.
Yes.
Now I would like to know the reality. When you really graduate with a master's degree and you already had maybe I think 6-7 years of experience already as an HR manager, and then you got a master's degree in human resources, isn't it?
MBA.
Oh, MBA. So
General MBA.
Okay. It's not in
No, in business administration. Master
Right.
in business administration.
And after that, really, do you feel value from the market as a master's holder? Do you feel that you are having an advantage with your masters?
Yes. Some organizations, they value a master degree, others not. Depends on the organization itself. But yes, being now, I don't know if I'm allowed to jump in the stages, but currently being a business owner in the field of HR, of course, it is valued by the market. When you do consultation or you advise on management issues, having experience and a master degree would bring more confidence on the table to the clients.
Do you mean that's something that can ease up your way in order to get deals done due to the fact of your long experience in HR, as well as backing it up with higher qualification like a master's, and then with you starting your own consultancy, that was the best way to get more clients.
Yeah, again, it depends on the clients, on the type of projects, and some clients and projects will require to present a proper profile about yourself, like who's this person who will do a certain XYZ project for me, what will make me accept that proposal, or being in consultation with this person. So you will have to show your profile, and your profile is mainly your experience, your achievements, and your academic studies. This is a fact of life, whether we like it or not.
Right.
So having a master degree will, of course, as I said, will bring more confidence on the table.
And do you get back then, because you were an HR manager back then, and
Mhm.
while you're doing your masters, and I'm imagine how much stress you were, because as an HR manager, you are responsible for the whole university.
Mhm.
How did you get support from your employees, or I mean your co-workers, or
Mm.
team members with you? What kind of support did you get in order? I'm sure you've got really a challenging moment where you have to submission, or you have an exam to.
Yes. Well, we had working in a university, which is again already an academic environment. Uh, so let's say the higher management will
Mm.
have this flexibility for their employees to study and to develop themselves. So we had flexibility in terms of maybe having not a sabbatical leave, but exams day leave, or sometimes just I take my leave
Mm.
days to attend maybe an exam or something. So we had some flexibility, some support, as well support from my direct manager. He was an understanding manager, alhamdulillah. So yeah, let's say flexibility and understanding from higher management that I'm studying, and that is something that they support for their employees to develop themselves. And but I didn't continue working at that university before actually finishing my master. I moved to another job. Yeah,
And what was that?
it was a private company, engineering as
Mm.
well. And then after some time as well, I moved to Tamkeen as insourced or seconded to Tamkeen. And it was one of my best experiences as well, because in Tamkeen you are working for your country, not
Right.
for an individual organization or a person or for a profit organization. So the feel was different. I felt proud that I'm serving my country, I'm serving my people.
Right.
We were support of Bahraini employees and the development of their skills and their caliber in order to be promoted and selected as the best or um, the chosen or the best chosen employees
Right.
in Bahrain.
Maybe for the benefit of the guest, I believe we have, if you can explain to them what's Tamkeen is and what's the role of Tamkeen, because I'm
Oh,
sure that nobody maybe from outside Bahrain will even understand what's Tamkeen stand
I'm
for.
not a representative of Tamkeen. I don't want to
Just
say
give us
something. I'm not.
a nutshell, let's say.
They are supporting Bahraini employees as well as Bahraini businesses to grow through so many schemes and so many support programs. They are in support of training and development of the Bahrainis, and upskilling their skills in order to be the preferred employees for organizations in Bahrain.
Mm.
Also, they support organization working in Bahrain in order to grow in their businesses and to grow from one stage in their organization life cycle to another.
Right.
That's in summary, but as
Very
I
well
said,
said.
there are many programs. I'm sure Bahrainis are well, somehow well aware of Tamkeen programs.
And back then, when you start your Tamkeen job, back then you had your masters already, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so does it give you an advantage to be there? Or no, not really. It's all
Uh,
about because of your career history that give you the advantage of getting hired there.
yes, somehow. It is like in a position that is related to HR.
Mm.
And because we were doing training needs analysis and reviewing the trainings for the employees working in the private sector. So it was more related to my experience.
And you feel really happy, and you feel you want to give more, because basically it's not a company that looking to gain a profit and leave the country. It's not
Yeah, I
something.
felt
It's
proud.
like a family business that you,
Yeah.
once you serve them, you getting them bigger, their buckets become bigger, and then out of nowhere you are paid, I wouldn't say fairly enough, but you just get paid normal wage and you feel fed up. And then that's the reason why you felt fulfillment
I
when you
felt
do your
fulfillment.
role, because you are supporting Bahrainis.
Yes, that gave
Wow.
me a sense of satisfaction and fulfillment, as you said. I'm not, judging private companies or saying
Right.
anything bad about them. I have a company, of course, I will be looking for a profit. Everyone will be looking for a profit. But it gives me a different feeling when you are serving your country,
Right. I know what you mean.
yeah.
And if I am allowed to relate something right here, it's that you dreamed of being an English teacher, and then you categorize yourself as a future English teacher. I can see that the same thing are repeating but in different way. It's like caring. Is it that the caring thing that it's within you, and it's like you didn't get the exposure of finding it, but when you are in HR, I believe that's the main thing, if I can relate it, because you have not studied HR, but you studied business management, but
Mm.
you get a career in HR. And I think one of the key strength in yourself is that the passion for others and caring for others and looking to develop others so you can be developed. Is
They
it?
say everything happens for a reason.
Well,
And sometimes you don't know what is the plan, what's happening in your life,
right.
and after some time you realize, oh, like the path that life took me actually took me to where I wanted to be.
But not
Gave
in a way
me
that makes you comfortable, but it gets you there
It's
eventually.
get you there eventually. As you said, when I was very young and I wanted to be an English teacher,
I like to relate things, by the way.
yeah. Now it's not that I want to be an English teacher, it's the giving. Giving things, giving support to others, or giving um, whatever others need in order to develop themselves. And I think I have a passion for education in general,
I can see
because
that, yeah.
I saw how it developed me as Mona, as a person from inside before outside.
Right.
And I love to see the same things happen to people. So I always push people to study, to finish their studies, to continue studying. And being in the academic field, giving lectures or even giving training to people gives me a very good feeling, a satisfaction and fulfillment when I feel that I contributed even a little to
Right.
somebody's life in order to develop.
And do you take it that serious when it's come to really giving them that spark, or giving them that, I would say, inspiration in a way you do? Do you try? I think, do you do that in order to you see like some people are lost? Do you feel like you want to be their spark? You want to be their
Yes,
light bulb? Is that
yes.
correct?
Even when I was working as HR in different companies, the employees might always remember me as trying to push them to studies, especially
Wow.
Bahrainis
Basically development.
who's maybe in a very junior positions, and they didn't continue their studies and they are struggling in their lives. So I try always to inspire them, to give them that, candle, to lit their lives. And I try to explain to them how, continuing their education will change their lives. I'm not saying this is always the right way, or this is the ultimate solution for some people's lives, but I think this way. Some people meant to continue their studies. Maybe some people, they are not meant to continue their studies. I don't know if I am speaking to a person what the life will give him, but I will try my best to guide this person. If this person is meant to be to continue, I love to be the person who
Inspire
and support and push them into education.
Very well said. I'm really inspired by what you have done. Let me just rephrase what you said right now. So you really passionate about developing people. You are really passionate. But if I would ask you really, what was the thing that makes you successful or make your career successful as it's now? What was the element in you that you think was the major part in your success?
Well,
As a Mona.
depends on your definition of success. I don't know if I am as successful as you said or not.
I mean, who can contribute to the three things together and still you are really successful? I'm not saying that because of your achievement only, but on the amount of challenges and the way you had the ability to find a way. I mean, that
yes, I'm
itself
successful
shows.
in developing myself, but I'm not sure if I am successful as I don't know how to phrase it, but I feel that even when I grew in the career ladder, up to HR manager or senior HR manager, I don't want just to give credit to myself,
Absolutely.
that I am a hero and I faced all the challenges and I became an HR manager. A part of it is the normal path of life. Most people, they start as juniors and they grow to senior positions. So this is something normal in life somehow. But what gave me the sense of success, if I inspire the person to be better,
Right.
either by a better career or a better education, this this is my success, my personal success.
Okay, and I think for sure, did you had that kind of success over time when you really seen your, for example, you advise someone in your work or advise a student, and then they inspired by you and they did what you ever asked them and they accomplished that. That happened.
Sometimes I'm not there anymore to see if that person really went into a next step in their education or careers. But whenever I am available and I sense somebody needs guidance in that direction, I'm always the person usually.
Right. And what happened after that? When you got your masters and you started, you say, with Tamkeen back then, and then what happened?
Then after some time in Tamkeen, I got an opportunity again in a private organization. It was somehow the same organization that I was working before joining Tamkeen. They acquired a bigger company, and the director contacted me saying that we acquired a new company and the business is different now, and we need you with us as HR. And basically they offered me a very good position and a very good package. And I was thinking this is the opportunity maybe to end my career with, serve for a certain amount of time, and then, switching to academics or doing something else, doing my business. So I started with them, but unfortunately, there was some financial mismanagement, and the company did not survive. I stayed with them for 2 years, and it had to close somehow.
Right. And then you did what?
I opened my business.
Oh, so then now I think it's the time to talk about your business.
Mm-hmm.
So now you shifted from, I would say, working, hustling, studying, hustling as well, grinding, and then you started an entrepreneurship.
Yes.
Wow. How does it feel really? And after that, if I would sum up, it's approximately 15 years of HR life?
Yes.
Wow. And you put all that 15 years into a business called
NewGen Management Consultancy.
Wow, from the name itself, it's kind of ignite my thoughts somehow.
Really?
NewGen, what does it mean?
It's an acronym or a shortening of new generation. NewGen.
Okay.
Yeah. NewGen Management Consultancy. We specialize in HR services, plus some management services as well. And also we do data analysis and statistical analysis services. I started with partners for sure. I didn't start alone.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember having the first client before even officially having a CR.
Wow.
Yes, just a coincidence over LinkedIn. Somebody sent me a message asking about HR services, and I immediately contacted him, and we started a business. And in the same month or the next month, we were also working on the formalities and CR and all these things.
Absolutely, yes.
So by within one month time from the first client, yeah, everything was formalized. Had the CR and CR activated, and everything went well. Alhamdulillah.
Wow.
That is in 2000, beginning of 2017.
So what is it exactly that you do in NewGen?
We provide all human resources
Solutions, but
services.
what is really your thinking? What's your niche in the market? What are you? What type of client that you normally going after, or any type of a client you can do?
We focus on startups and SMEs.
Right.
Why? Because usually startups and SMEs at that life cycle stage of their organization, some of them, they don't have the budget to hire an extremely experienced HR to handle their HR services.
Right.
So we come in either as
Outsource
HR or as a party who will do some projects and important projects for them for their operations in HR. Mm-hmm. And we serve that category, as I said, because we will put all our experience within their hands to benefit from, with very reasonable fees.
Wow. And what makes you unique rather than, I just want to know what makes you unique when it's come to comparing NewGen with other consultancy in HR?
Well, we have, let's say, maybe things on different levels. In terms of the services we provide, we are very flexible, very reasonable fees, and we deal with the client as if the organization our own.
I have no doubt about that, since you care about everyone else, so for sure you'll care about your client.
It is like we are not a company who run behind projects. We are not, even marketing ourselves that much just to get projects. We are more service oriented. When we have a customer, we take care of that customer. We don't bother ourselves with different multiple projects at the same time just for the income.
Right.
So I think that the level of interaction, the care, the personal relationship that we develop during the process of consulting or doing projects with our client is what make us unique. We go beyond the service itself. Even if after we get our paycheck, we continue checking on them, we continue communicating with them. A lot of our clients requires recruitment services from us. So we check every now and then about the new hire from both. We check with the organization who hired that person, and we check with the person who've been hired. Are you comfortable? Is everything okay? Is there anything we can do? Are you facing any problems that we can solve it for you? So the relationship doesn't end when we receive the check.
Right.
I receive calls from my clients. Sometimes there is a problem with the hire. We can't say like we always hire the best candidates.
Right.
We hire the best candidates as per our knowledge.
And as per your judgment, basically.
As per our judgment, sometimes we are limited with a limited time. So we cannot judge people in that short time of period. So sometimes our clients face problems, sometimes behavioral problems with the ones we recruited. So we support them. We communicate with the
and do you empower them as well with the solutions for their problems, since you've got
of course we are
naturally for sure you had always there when you are in especially I think that people who are working specifically in the recruiting teams, they are having a bad time sometimes for making wrong choices, and sometimes really you cannot rely. Well, you've done some tests. There's some companies here in Bahrain, they are using a psychometric assessment. Some of them, they are using IQ tests. And some of them, it depends on the what nature is that company is. But I can definitely relate that the HR or the responsible for recruitment is responsible to find a person or a set of skills in a person, but he's not really able to judge what his behavioral later on. I mean, you cannot never predict a behavior of a person. You cannot predict whether he got the skills or not through his resume, through his experience. And if through the test you can get a better picture, but when it's come to his behavioral,
alhamdulillah, mostly we didn't face such an issue.
Right.
It's only maybe the one that is recent,
right?
And it was not about the skills. Skills were perfect, but some behavioral issues,
right,
or management or leadership issues with that person. So even our clients, they know, like whenever they need us, especially the organizations who doesn't have a dedicated HR person or an experienced HR, maybe somebody in admin just for the payroll or something, but not a dedicated HR. So they reach to me saying, can you speak to that person? I say I not only can speak, I can come to your office and meet with that person if you would like to.
Wow.
So I'm giving whatever is needed to support the organization, because again, my aim is development, whether the development of the person, the development of the employee, or the development of the organization itself. So I love empowering people and organizations.
Right. And how long now since you started your NewGen business?
2017, beginning of 2017.
Beginning of 2017. If I may ask you a question, and I like to choose tricky questions.
Okay.
What was the biggest challenge you overcome in NewGen, and that was a real milestone for you and for your partners? Wow.
Biggest
Sounds
challenge.
really challenging question.
Biggest challenge.
Anything you
Starting a
can.
business, you know, the first time in your life starting a business, your own business, and actually stepping into that step is the first challenge that you have to overcome. You have to overcome your fear. You have to overcome your, doubt,
Right.
and you have to overthink your negative thoughts that you might.
Not succeed in that. What would I feel? Or what the people will look at me when I didn't do that? And,
Yeah.
stereotype things.
So this is the first challenge that we overcome. Second challenge, well, as I said, we are not a company who
Right. But I mean,
run behind projects. So sometimes we go through peak times. Sometimes we are, less busy. And
right.
when we are less busy, we are just enjoying our life, our other aspects of life. So I wouldn't say it's a challenge. It's just, the continuity. That's a challenge. You continue no matter what. No matter you have projects at hand or not. You just continue.
Right.
One time you will have project, one time you'll have 10 projects at a time, and one time you will have nothing. So, being persistent, being determined to continue and not, having any bad thoughts about the business is what keep us going.
Right. And since you started until now, what was the real milestone you've done? Then if I had to switch that question to that question, what was the biggest thing that makes you super proud when you accomplish it? Is it a number
Several things, or let's say a couple of things. Having my own business, having the courage to say enough is enough.
right.
That I'm relating to my last
Job.
My last job. The struggle was real.
I can tell.
So having that courage to say, I am in a situation, and that situation is making me sick, and I'm not liking that situation. Either I continue complaining about that situation, grieving, or change the situation. Move out from the situation. Moving out from that situation will mean I don't have another job opportunity ready at my door. I will be without a salary for a period of time, which means I might struggle, financially with my financial commitments. So having the courage to say enough is enough. I don't care what happened after that, but I cannot continue at this situation.
Right.
I had people and friends saying, you are crazy. I was in a good position, a very good salary. Why you are leaving? Even if they were struggling financially, even if you did not receive your salary for 8 months.
Wow.
You should continue. Maybe things will be better, or wait until you find
8
another
months?
job and then leave. So
that's a simple answer that they want to motivate and keep the person alive. And for me, I disagree really with that, because sometimes you kill your vibe, you kill your motivation, you kill your basically everything you have been worked for just for a time until somebody gets hire you. It's something really struggled me myself when I had to make some decisions based on my career decision. But again, I really feel what you're saying and how you've been in that situation and how did you control it, and then after that you moved from it and you started your own.
Yes.
And I think also now is if I may say, you really progress a lot. And now I can say that even your profile in Instagram, which people, if you would love to support Mona Al-abbas, her Instagram is Mona Al-abbas _ and you can also support her NewGen business. That would be really interesting. And for the people who was looking for HR consultancy or business or whatever, when it comes to statistics and management expert, we can say that NewGen is one of the, I would say, intelligent,
I hope so. Yes.
developed
Developed
a
consultant.
new way
Mm.
for a new generation. Please do follow them and give them the support they
Thank
are.
you.
I can really relate everything you've been said, and how I believe in myself. I mean, I believe in the way you're saying it, and I really know that since you've got these kind of characters within you, I'm sure that you'll really take care. You'll really take care good of your clients and looking for their
Thanks.
real development, not for their paycheck. And I am sure that lots of businesses, I don't want to name any business right here in this podcast, but I'm sure that many businesses, believe it or not, they are only worrying about the paycheck, and as much as they're greedy just for to get a bigger numbers of amount in their bank account, without really giving a companies the real benefit of hire them as an outsource. I've Do you agree with me in this?
Well, I don't want to judge others. To be honest, everyone will have their own path, their own values, their own background and environment that
Right.
made them the way they are.
Right.
So I'm concentrating on myself, on
Right.
NewGen. I'm not judging others. Everyone have the right to do whatever suits them.
Right.
They are free to do that.
Okay, let me just had a quick. What happened next? Why did you change direction and move to part-time lecturer in University of Strathclyde?
Okay, that is another
That's something you
happy
had.
opportunity for me. Being an alumni of Strathclyde, they have a system of having their own alumni as local counselors, which is basically a lecturer. Just the term is different. But basically, you are the person local in your country. We have a center for Strathclyde in Bahrain. And the local counselors are the people who support the students inside the same country. And of course, they have also lectures and professors from University Strathclyde and Glasgow visiting for every subject. So we are the people who support the students in their studies and their assignment work, and answering their questions, explaining whatever they did not understand. And I had an opportunity to be the local counselor for a subject that is related to human resources and management and leadership, managing people in organizations. It is not purely HR, it is a combination of HR and leadership as well, and change management as well. So yes, I grabbed that opportunity. And I'm happy that I did that. I see myself and I feel fulfilled, and I feel very happy to support the students.
Okay.
And I love to continue, as I said, in the same field. I am aiming for the academic industry, inshallah.
But if this was the case, and I'm imagining yourself now, you at the beginning, if you can remember, you can say, I was willing to be an English teacher. Now you find out what you're passionate about, and basically I can say that with the development, whatever it was in a company or in a personal level, you feel joy, you feel happy, you feel satisfied, fulfillment, and whenever you see something within your eyes, you feel even more happier and more joyful when you see that you really was a little bit, or let's say even there was 1% inspiration come from you, you would be really happy based on that result.
Sure.
And I think that was key element for your success, in my opinion. If I can judge, it's the key element, because you have the caring character to develop and to make put your personal touch. And then now you are in a position where you teach people, but not English, something related to change management, related to business or what management studies. Now, at your role at the university, do you think that you satisfied the other student to reach their potential or reach their inspiration through your curriculum, or they think of you as another HR lecturer? Do you feel that you're really giving the role what it takes to be the inspiration for this young generation?
I can't judge. But I
What
can
if one of
say
your
from the feedback of students or the interaction that I make with the students,
right?
in any university, fact of life, you will get different types of students,
True.
different personalities. Some students are really focusing on their studies. Some students, they just want to finish that subject, to finish the master. So through the interactions, especially for the assignments and the different lectures, I get good feedback from students in terms of you are really caring to give us what we need. I remember when a student asked me a question, and I didn't know the answer at that time. I told her, let me check and I will get back to you. It was like something new. It's not that I forget the
maybe new subject or something uncommon that happened every day.
An uncommon question that challenged me.
Oh,
and
you
then
love
I have to
challenges,
research
of
how
course.
to relate her question to our subject.
Right.
So it took me like the next day I contacted her and saying regarding your question, and then I explained. And she came back to me saying, wow, you cared enough to
Yes.
reply to my question. I said, yeah, you challenged me. And through you as well, through students, I developed myself, because they sometimes ask questions beyond the material, beyond the book. So
just to see how you can think outside the box.
Yes, and in a master level, most of the students are already mature, already studying, so they relate what we are teaching to their actual work, and they come with different questions. Some questions I'm relating to, some questions it's new for me. So they gave me also an opportunity to search for something new and to expand my knowledge as well.
Wow.
And whenever a subject finish or they finish the exam or the assignments, some students, they care enough to communicate with me, thanking me for all the support and making their life easier during their studies. So that's give me, of course, the satisfaction.
Now, if we want to say the last words for our audience right there, what is your message to them? And you can look at them when you say that.
Well, to be honest, I don't feel myself the person who want to or have enough knowledge or enough level to advise people what to do in their lives or to give advices, as I said. But trust your journey. Trust your journey. If you have an aim, go for it. And trust the journey. At the end, when you reflect on your journey, you will understand the different challenges you went through, the different steps, the path, the ups and downs in your career and in your life, maybe. And just focus on your aim. Just focus on the better version of yourself.
I like it. I like that.
The better version every now and then. Don't just make one better version.
I am down with you.
Continue making better versions of yourself until you reach your full potential.
I'm really down to that. Ladies and gentlemen, what an honor to meet an inspirational, a feminist, a strong feminist. She drive her way out of nothing, started as a secretary and ending as an HR manager with 15 years of experience, a master's degree holder and a part-timer lecturer at the University of Strathclyde, and most important, an entrepreneurship and also an HR consultancy called NewGen. Thank you once again. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate your time. I really appreciate your effort into giving those small things. And by the way, the reason why I really put efforts and energy into this is basically to give guidelines, to give maybe, as the young generation, I had that, by the way, let me just share that as one of part of my ending. But I find out that lots of people did not understand their passion. And because they did not fully understand the passion, and they have lack of awareness, they got into wrong direction, choosing the wrong university path, which lead them, like your case, and I'm sure many of them, to choose something that not interest themselves, or not they're passionate about themselves, or just to please their parents, which eventually, when they become bigger and understand life, they understand that they made wrong choice. And if I would go back, I would go to the rules of the people who should give inspiration or awareness about how important to make a decision for the university, so that they don't fall back into others' mistakes and they can learn from our mistakes. And that's basically what I aim in this. I'm not aiming anything in this episode, but in general, that's the main aim of the podcast, to throw up a knowledge, a content that will be valued for someone out there, that he is really, really in a need for such inspirational words, or a creative story just like yours. And I am sure that Bahrain would be really proud to know such a strong story of a strong feminist in front of me here in Master Mo podcast, Mona Al-abbas. Please do check her account is Mona Al-abbas _ and NewGen is NewGen BH. If I don't know if I
Yes, NewGen
right. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching my podcast. Thank you for keeping you until this moment. Please, if you are new here, please consider subscribe to my channel, like and dislike this video actually. And that's the challenge part, you know why? Because if you do like this content, please thumbs up. If you don't like that content, please thumb down, so that I can understand where we can develop and produce a better content. But please share us also your comment. What do you think? And give I would like you to give Mona Al-abbas some, what do you think about her story? She said that my story is just normal.
Yes.
I don't think so at all. But let them the one
I'm
who
not
answered
alone
that.
who face challenges. I'm sure there are many stories, hidden
Absolutely.
gems. I'm sure there are many hidden gems.
That's actually very well said, and I'm pleased to refine one of the gems here in Bahrain, the hidden
Thank
gems
you.
in Bahrain. I'm
Thank
really
you
pleased
very
with it.
much.
Thank you very much for your time, gentlemen. Until next time, see you and take care.